Right, keep this on. Okay, we're going to start our 4-month special service district meeting. Welcome to the Board of Trustees tonight. All those in the audience, we appreciate the there and staff. Thank you. Item number 1, item number 2, which is our consent items. This is item number 8, approval of the minutes for the September 13th, 2022 board meeting. Have you had a chance to read those minutes and any recommendations, any discussion? If not, may I have a motion?
I'll motion that we approve the minutes from September 13th, 2022 board meeting. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Number 3 is our business items. This is a discussion or possible action to adopt resolution 22-13, Ashland Cove annexation. We're acting on a petition for annexation of certain real property into the former special service district. Jenny, thank you.
This is just a brief staff report that we put together, and believe you all have a copy of it regarding the annexation of the Ashland Cove subdivision into the 4 Mile Special Service District. The applicant is requesting annexation of the Ashland Cove subdivision, a 23-lot subdivision located at approximately 375 west, 1200 north, along with property located at 1234 North Harrisville Road, into the 4 Mile Special Service District. The background of this is on May 22. A petition was received from Harry Robertson requesting annexation of the Ashland Cove subdivision into the 4 Mile Special Service District. On September 13, 2022, a public hearing was held to take public comment for or against proposed annexation. The findings are that the proposed annexation petition was filed and accepted by the district. The proposed annexation petition was certified by the city reporter. All notices have been properly posted or otherwise given. No protest has been filed during the protest period. The district held the required public hearing in accordance with state law, and the city council is the acting board of trustees of the district and has the authority to approve this annexation. Staff does recommend approving Harrisville Resolution 22-13 Ashland Cove annexation based on the findings of this report.
Anyone have questions?
1234 North Bonnie Mill.
Yes. Any more questions? All right, if nothing else, motion, please.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2213. Ashland Cove annexation.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 4, which is board staff follow-up, and this is just on the 4 Mile Special Service. So staff, nothing. I know I can go in down the pipeline in the 4 Mile after this annexation. I should have been back over and excuse me. Which is an excuse me. Anything from the trustee board? If not, I would like a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. This concludes the 4 Month Special Service District Board. Thank you. We'll take a brief break before we start our hearing. I'd like to live on the my friend. I know I've been working for that. I know how to picture. Starting. Thank you. I'd like to welcome all of you. I like happy chatter, but we've got to start our meeting. Thank you. We are now going to start the Harrisville City Council meeting. I am Mayor Michelle Tait. I'm going to excuse Councilmember Christensen and Councilmember Williamson. We'll have an opening ceremony with Councilmember Loveland.
You all please rise. And we're going to say the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Father in heaven, we are so grateful to meet this night as citizens of Harrisville. We're thankful for the opportunity to live in this great city and for the support that we receive here from friends and neighbors. Please bless thy spirit be in this room this night as we discuss the things that are on the agenda and things we're supposed to do this evening. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, which is our consent items. Item A is the approval of the meeting minutes for August 16th, 2022, and September 14th, 2022 is presented. Has council had a chance to look at those? Anything that needs to be changed or corrected? Any stuff. All right. A motion, please.
Motion that we approve the minutes of August 16th, 2022 and September 13th, 2022 as presented.
Second.
All right.
Wonderful.
Okay, all right. I've got a motion and a second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to item 4. This is probably why all of you are here. You know what, we're going to move on first, though. I'll make you guys wait. WCTC Coalition, Madeline Robles is here.
Also, hi, everybody. I've also brought Julie Anderson with me. She is the chair for Weber Communities That Care. So we're really, really grateful that she came along today with me for, she's just newly elected into her position. So I'm really, really excited for that for Weber CTC. Anyway, really good to see you all. Got a really big crowd, so hopefully get some free publicity. So anyway, just little quick reminder, Weber CTC is your local prevention coalition working on substance use prevention and suicide prevention. So we serve not necessarily all Weber County, but more so the Weber Cone that feeds to Weber High School. So that includes Harrisville, North Ogden, Pleasant View, and Ogden Valley. So just quick little reminder there. And really, we're just here to invite you all as really important leaders in the community that we serve to a key leader training that Weber Communities That Care is hosting. It's next Wednesday. So kind of a little bit of a short turnaround. So next Wednesday, the 19th, we have got some paper invitations for you here that we can bring to you. And hopefully I can give you a couple extra for you, the council members that are missing. But ultimately at this training, our goals are to help explain what the role of a key leader is, what exactly is Weber Communities That Care, what is the process that we follow, what does that look like, and how do key leaders fit into that. And then also kind of sharing with you some of our action plan items. So things that we've accomplished, kind of give you an idea of what we've been up to, and then things that we have on our radar that we are planning to have come up in the future. So, yeah, we're just yes, that's why I have Julie here to keep it track. So the other thing is too is that this isn't necessarily like you are all very, very important leaders in this community, but please don't limit this, especially too if you are not able to attend and you know of somebody that you think could attend really aptly in your place. Please feel free to pass along this invitation. Also, we're hoping via Tait that you might be able, I see we got a police chief here, so I'm probably gonna have Julie take him one of these two, but anybody else that might be here in this space, we'll provide an invitation to all of you up here, but anybody else in the room that you think needs one of these today, really, there's no limitations on who's invited. It's just who is a key leader in this community that is making things happen in Harrisville and knows the things that are going on here, the problems they might be facing and opportunities that we might pursue here, and being able to provide support and resources as your local coalition. So do you have any other questions? Anybody?
No, we appreciate what you're doing and involving us and letting us know the character.
Yeah,
thank you.
We're really excited. yeah, and then I don't know which one of these ladies I need to talk to. We're planning on going to trunk or treat. So I just didn't know who to call back for that. We'll be there next Tuesday. Awesome. Thank you. Don't know how we're gonna decorate yet, but we're gonna.
All right, that's
And if it's all right, can I approach and give it to you? Yeah, yeah. Well, okay.
How many should we put this up for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Right, thank you, Madeline. Julie, we appreciate your service. Hey, moving on to item B. This is our community recognition. We have Northview Fire District and Harrisville Police Department in conjunction with these awards. Who is going to the first one? Well, Chief Wilson.
Chief Wade.
Wade. So Chief Wilson is from Harrisville Police. Chief Wade is with Northview Fire.
All right, tonight, Harrisville City and Northview Fire would like to take the time to present Barnett Medford, which I understand will find DJ. Present him with the Public Service Award. I'll kind of just explain. The Public Service Award is awarded to citizens who distinguish themselves by performing courageous acts involving personal hazard in protecting or saving human life, or took similar acts necessary to effect the arrest or prevent the escape of a person who committed an act which exposed or caused any person to suffer serious injury or death, or caused a significant concern to public safety. So that's kind of what the award's for. This is the city's first award. Hopefully the first of many. So
can we have him come up here?
Would you like to come up now or? Okay, so on 8/19 of 22, a structure fire at a residence located on 1650 North was reported to dispatch. The fire had the potential for loss of life and the total loss of home, had it not been for the quick actions taken by a neighbor who just happened to be stepped outside at the time. The neighbor obviously is BJ. At 1:04 a.m., BJ stepped outside with his dogs and immediately smelled burning plastic. He investigated, saw the flames on the back deck of a neighbor's house. He immediately drove over and attempted to wake his neighbors with no avail. He contacted 911 and went back in the back of the home and grabbed a nearby garden hose and attempted to put out the fire. The homeowner came out onto the deck and fell through the burning material. Barnett saw that his friend and neighbor was now on fire and began to spray him with the hose. Helped him get out of the fire, and thanks to the quick action taken by Barnett, his friend survived. The house was not a complete loss. The city of Harrisville hereby bestows the Public Service Award to BJ for his commendable actions taken on August 19, 2022, which ultimately saved the life and home of his friend and neighbor. I'll turn the time over to Chief Wade.
Thank you. In conjunction with Chief Wilson and everyone, I recognize DJ also for his quick actions. And we respond to people on their worst days, and the quicker we can get there to help them, the better off we are. And in this particular fire, we had a hard time locating it, and because of DJ's quick actions and staying with it, we want to, Northview Fire District wants to award him the Chief's Commendation, awarded to Barnett Medford in recognition and appreciation for outstanding service to the citizens of Northview Fire District. Congratulations. Thank you. Then I got one last thing. We always talk about accountability, and we talk about sometimes we want your actions to match what your words are. And so DJ, just to show you how much we appreciate you, got one last thing for you. The only way that law enforcement and that fire districts can show you our appreciation. So hang on just a minute. There we go.
Yeah, so you
Just
guys,
for pictures.
Yeah.
here, BJ, Chief Wade, Chief Wilson, and in the family, if you guys want to take pictures, you're more than welcome to.
We'll stop.
Stand up behind them. The mayor. Oh, Brad, now you're gonna be all crying. You want your family? We've actually never met. First time we've met each other.
Yes. Now I've been waiting a long time. Just so everybody knows, this is Mr. Jolly. He was the homeowner. When we came around the deck, he was trying to put fire out with the chair and he fell through the deck. And when we met him up with him, he was burned pretty severely on his torso and hands and arms. And so we appreciate, we're glad you're doing well. And we're glad that you were able to help him.
Thank you.
One, two, three.
One more. Okay. Okay, how are you guys? Useful one.
Yeah. Good job.
I Thank you to Northview. Thank you to Harrisville Police. That was a wonderful expression of our appreciation to the families, and we're so grateful we have families like this living in Harrisville. I've been through a fire like this, and so it's really emotional. It's been 30 something years later to hear this, so thank you. And I didn't expect to do that. But, we appreciate all those who put their lives on the line for others. That's just a true expression of love, and I really admire you and appreciate you. Thank you so much for living in Harrisville, the kind of people you want here. Okay, Chief Wade, I don't know what you're gonna do about this. I knew what was coming. I've been to your meetings. So we'll be okay. We'll take care of it. Thank you. Okay, I can't see for a second. Hang on. All right, moving on. And some of you, if you want to stay for this whole meeting, we welcome you. This is what we want you to do. If you want to be excused, you are more than welcome to. You don't feel obligated to be here. We are going on to the business items. This is item number 8. I know we We appreciate so much support, and it's wonderful to see. And if you want to visit, please take it outside. All right, we can move on. Thank you. Moving on to our business items. Item number 8 is a presentation of arguments for and against the general obligation bond to acquire and construct a recreation facility in the city in the amount not to exceed $6 million. We're going to turn the time over to Jenny Knight to give us some history and background again for this. Yeah.
general obligation bond will be on the ballot for the November 8th, 2022 general election. Registered voters of Harrisville City will have an opportunity to vote on the bond proposition. The governing body of the taxing entity shall conduct a public meeting and shall allow equal time within a reasonable limit for a presentation of arguments in favor of the ballot proposition and against the ballot proposition. The interested parties on either side may present if comment within reasonable time limits. This is pursuant to Utah Code Section 59-1-1505. Information about the general obligation bond is on the Harrisville City website under GO Bond Election, or the link is www.cityofharrisville.com/go-bond-election. For questions or clarification, please call the office during business hours. Thank you for that. We go on. So at this time, we'd like to invite Mr. Greg Montgomery, who is the sponsor of the argument against the bond, to read his argument and any comments that he has up to 15 minutes.
Do you have?
I'm not going to read it in its entirety. It's self-explanatory, but maybe I will add some comments to it. I think one of the important things whenever you're talking about such things as general obligation bond is you're basically asking the citizens to fund a loan. And the way you're doing that is by saying, well, increase your taxes to fund that loan. Whenever you're looking at a loan, you generally say, okay, what is it you're getting? What are the details of it? What are the costs of it? And how will you pay for it? Of course, you've addressed how you pay for it. That's by the increase in taxes that would be coming with the general obligation bond. But the other items, if you look at this as if you were a loan officer, have not been addressed. There has not been addressed what are the actual costs and what you actually get for those costs. There are some general thoughts and terms which are at beginning stage, but they're not to a point where they're ripe for a decision. One of the things I think that's important to understand, and this goes back millennia, is the concept of count the costs and consider whether you have sufficient to finish it. That's generally a great advice. It's been tried and tested to be found that if you're really looking to do something, do you know what it is you're doing? Have you considered the cost before you undertake it? Now, I know in the comments made with the pamphlet, some of the thoughts and words are, let us have the money first, and then we can tell you what we can do for that money, which in my mind is backwards. Whenever you're talking about recreation, you're talking about something that's changed over time. What we may consider as recreation and needful for the children, the young adults, and the adults has varied over time. We live in a situation now when what we thought was play doesn't work anymore. Children need opportunities, but they can't be forced into those opportunities. When we say that we will do this, this, and this as a recreation and not taking into consideration the needs of the people, we are doing things backwards. We have not considered what we need first. But we say we will fund and buy this, and you will enjoy this. That doesn't work. People need to be involved in deciding what is the type of recreation and what is the play that is needed. And the way you do that is you involve the citizens in designing and helping to develop those recreational opportunities. To my knowledge, the only discussion on the needs of the recreational opportunities are what is stated in the plan, which is very broad and loose and has been determined in the wording for the general obligation bond, possibly this or this or this. The other thing I think that's important to understand is when we see those changing needs, have we taken a look? One of the arguments made of why this is important to do is for the basketball, for the youth basketball, having places to play. But yet, have we given to the public, what are the cost benefits? How much does a rental cost versus how much does it cost to build a building and pay and maintain that building?
And where's the break even point? No such information has been provided other than $6 million will be the maximum. We have 10 years where we can go after this bond, give us the money first, and then we'll tell you what you get for that. And as we all know, and as the arguments are made, with costs going up, those things may not be the same as what the obligation bond is saying will happen right now. And so the question is, how important is it to the community? And what steps have you done to find out what is it the community wants, not what is the leaders want? We have many people who I hear saying, why is the city not being able to maintain the playgrounds they have already? We keep losing play equipment, we keep losing things. It's not maintained, it's not considered. We ask volunteers to work, and then the next spring we take out the fields that they worked on. And so where is the plan of the city of what are the real recreation programs and what are the real needs? And how can we maintain the things we have before we take on other obligations to maintain something else? Because the general obligation bond can't account for. They cannot pay maintenance. They cannot pay for extra people that may be needed. Where does that funding come from? I think it's premature to look at a general obligation bond without first knowing what the plan is, having the people know what the plan is, having the people participate in it. Because it's always much easier if we need to renovate and repair rather than create new and then add to our repair and maintenance the new item in addition to the other items we can't take care of. I think those are some things that are lacking as far as information to the public to say, public, give us a loan, trust us, but we won't give you any more information. That will not go anywhere in the bank. Why should it go in the election? And so I think it's important to say, what are our real needs, what are our real costs, and where are we going in the future? And the revenue bond, it did talk about the property where the revenue bond is taking place, that it also be for recreation facilities. What part of that revenue bond is the recreation facility already being covered by? Or is there any of that? Is this the second? The last point I wanted to just make is there was a comment made in the pamphlet that we'll let the people decide whether or not this is needed. The vote for an obligation bond is not having people to say yes or no to recreation. It's saying yes or no to give us this money at this point without additional information. I think it's a misnomer to say if the people vote no, therefore they don't want any additional regulation. I think people need to get involved first so they know what they're getting. They know what the commitment is. And don't assume that because a vote, no vote means no to recreation. It just means no, we don't have enough information. We don't know what is really being proposed. And we may not have confidence that the city has the ability and the presence people and the budget we have to, for all the things we're asking them to do, to add another thing to it. Because those, again, unknown things have not been yet said of what are the additional costs that come up as yearly costs, even when the bond is done and retired. Those will still be ongoing costs. And I think those are things that need to be discussed and defined. And the first is a plan for what you need. As I mentioned, there's two ways to approach building something. You plan it out, you budget for it, you set it aside, you work towards it. Or the other one is that the general obligation bond is saying we'll go for the loan now. But again, I don't think there's enough information at this point to make it a fair statement to the public of what are you going to get for this loan that they're being asked to fund. And so I think there are needs we have, there are wants we have, but I don't think we've set out a plan of what are those real needs and wants and what are the real costs before we go to the point of estimating this is how much is needed and plan and budget for that and its maintenance. Thank you.
Now we will turn the time over to Council Member Loveland to the argument for the bond.
Thank you. I'm gonna read mine because I'm not as well. That's great. Harrisville City proposes issuing.
Speak to that one.
Can you hear me now?
So we can hear what's going on.
Okay, is this better? Okay. Harrisville City proposes issuing general obligation bonds to finance the construction of a new recreation community center and park facilities. A vote in favor of the issuance of $6 million in recreation general obligation bonds at the November 8th election is a vote to build a new recreation community center and park facilities. Without this bond, the city will not be able to afford this center and facilities for the foreseeable future. The need. Harrisville City is a growing, vibrant community consisting substantially of multi-generational residents, a large portion of which have expressed a desire to continue to live and recreate within our community. The city currently operates a youth recreation program and desires to build a recreation community center and additional park facilities to support existing programs and add amenities for community recreation opportunities. As community needs continue to grow and expand, so do the programs and services offered by our Parks and Recreation Department. Currently, the city does not have a recreational facility. Both the lack of gym space and the rising cost of gym rental to practice the whole games limit the amount of participants the city is able to accept. Recreation programs quickly reach capacity and the city has to turn away more and more families from the city's sponsored recreation, as well as limiting recreational options. The solution. The bond will be used for the construction of a recreation community facility, including but not limited to a basketball gym, weight room, exercise dance room, restrooms, lockers, above gym, walk, run track, offices for managers, staff, storage room, and outdoor pickleball courts, basketball courts, pavilion, and playground features, in addition to an area for our active seniors. Timing. If the city delays this project, there's a good chance that the price of the project and interest rates may continue to rise significantly. If the recreation general obligation bond were to pass, the city plans to begin the design of the recreation community center and park facilities as soon as possible. The construction of these facilities starting shortly thereafter. This will allow current and future residents to have a new facility to enjoy with their families. In summary, the city recognizes this is an important project to many residents. However, in order for the city to fund the project, it must issue a bond secured by a property tax levy. The anticipated property tax increase on a $320,000 primary residential home is estimated to be $8.81 monthly, increase or $105.66 annually. Bond is scheduled to last for a maximum of 26 years. The city will evaluate payment options after 10 years and attempt to minimize the actual duration of property tax collections. Voting in favor of the issuance of bonds by a majority vote of our residents will allow for a recreation community center and park facilities within the city that provide a myriad of possibilities and endless opportunities to engage our community for the present and future. Thank you.
Any more discussion right now? We're waiting to come back. Right, I'd like to turn the time back over to Mr. Gordon Montgomery for a rebuttal to the argument for the bond.
Yes, I don't have anything else to say. I've already said it, so I don't know. I think I've covered thoughts. I don't have anything else to add to that.
Now we'll turn the time over to Councilmember Weiss for the rebuttal to the argument against bond.
Says Harrisville City is working with their engineers to understand the capital needs of the city over the next 5 years. As part of our master plan, the city understands that a recreation center may not be essential or affordable due to other more pressing projects. To plan efficiently, we believe that the general obligation bond election will help us understand what the residents of Harrisville City want and give them the opportunity to vote and decide. Giving the residents the opportunity to vote on this recreation center is the fairest way to understand the desires of all residents. To save money, the city has decided not to sink valuable city funds into a project design or architectural renderings until we know the will of the residents. If the residents decide not to vote for the bond, this decision could save the residents hundreds of thousands of dollars in costs. If the bond passes, the city will be able to move forward with their budgeted $6 million of authorization. The authorization of the bonds is good for up to 10 years, and the city believes that they will have adequate time to plan and coordinate with residents on the recreation center before issuing any bonds. The city will not be able to afford the recreation center unless the residents pass the GO bonds. A successful election will indicate that the residents want the city to move forward with this recreation project.
Thank you. Council, are you wanting any more discussion on this among ourselves? Okay. Staff. All right, well, there will be no action taken on this tonight. This is just another process in the process. This is another step in the process to go forward with this GO bond. The registered voters will have an opportunity to vote on the bond proposition at the general election on November 8th. And then our residents will determine the outcome of this GO bond election. Okay. Thank you for Greg. Thank you for your thought, consideration, and coming and helping with that. Anything more on that or anything else? Not, yes, there's a process, okay? So our public comments are next, all right? So let me, once again, I usually try and say what public comments are. I'm going to have it a little bit more clarification on this. So the public comment period allows time for the public to give comments for or against an agenda item. It is not a time for discussion between the public and the council, so no feedback will be given at this time. So additional questions or requests for further discussion or information may be directed to the council or Jenny Knight, the city administrator, by email or phone. And our contact information for all of us is on the city website. So each person coming up for public comments tonight may have 3 minutes or less, and please be mindful of your allotted time. And you know, those differing opinions, we appreciate that. So when you're ready for public comments, we're going to turn the time over from now up to the podium and speak into the microphone. Your name.
I'll start off first. Greg Montgomery, 231 Harrison Lane. I want to thank the council and the police department. I mentioned the concern I had, the trailer parked on the road for a couple months. The next day, the police dropped by, and the trailer was parked on the private property. It's now enables me to see traffic. So I appreciate the efforts there. Second item I want to just make note of, maybe you're doing this, but I know as you're working on designs for the public works facility, as I understand, the property is zoned 01, that development is a conditional use. And so hopefully you have set the time with the planning commission before they go too far in designs to understand what the conditions are that may be imposed to make that use acceptable, because without a conditional use permit, the planning commission cannot be built. So hopefully that is in the process. I haven't seen anything on the planning commission's agenda, but I do know you've hired an engineer to do those development plans. So that is a process that is outlined in the city ordinance. The planning commission has to approve that through conditional use permit. So I don't know what the time frame is for that meeting, but I just wanted to make mention of that. Hopefully that's not overlooked. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Kevin Karras, and everybody. Okay, hear me, sir. Kevin Karras. And thank you. I'm up to speak on behalf of, I believe, a number of taxpayers regarding the bond. Just as Greg had mentioned, I think it's kind of backwards to say that it's going to cost you $106 or whatever it is to basically say, yes, you want that recreation. I don't know of any poll. I know there was a reference that said a majority of residents seem to want that. I don't recall of being surveyed myself, or I could for sure come up with a number of other people. Perhaps there's been a number of percent that they want to increase, but it's always a matter of what cost it is. I understand this is to be recorded and put up online so others can hear, and that's one reason I'm speaking. So say we cannot afford it. There's already the revenue bonds, the reference again, as Greg mentioned, recreation. So the pondering question I have is $15 million have been authorized. 5 million, I believe, have been dedicated towards the public works. So you've got $10 more million that you can spend to cover recreation. So I don't understand why you need another 6 million. That's really hard when you say you can't afford it when you're talking in millions of dollars. That's just beyond me to say, quote, the city can't afford it. Yes, you got an increase recently. Now you're asking for another significant increase. My recommendation to the voters would be to not approve this. Don't let it be abused, but to say that you set everyone up to be obligated to such a large amount of money. $6 million for a recreation facility, but I think, again, as Greg said, there's a lot of ways to go about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Carlos Aguilar, Madam Mayor, esteemed councilman, Madam Administrator, Madam Board. Good to see you all. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a rough year. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for what you do. It's not easy being in a leadership position with this kind of economics that we're dealing with right now. Decisions are not easy, and not everybody's happy. Thank you for letting the citizens vote on the recreation building. It's great. But I do have one other thing that I would like to do is I have something for the reporter I would like to give her. She needs this very badly. Go ahead, wear that shirt, everybody. Put it on, show everybody. I know you want to move it. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you because I've been in leadership positions and it's not easy, especially under trying times. I always got your six, right? We have to take care of each other. And it's good to have these healthy relationships. I know I'm not talking about anything on the agenda item, but thanks, guys. Thanks.
The comments are still open.
Barrel, 750 West. Heard a few comments on this proposal. Appreciate Greg stepping forward in the last couple of, not a month, I guess. He's got retired from Loveland City, but appreciate his time and effort, his expertise in city things, because most of us don't have any way of knowing what really is going on unless you're right in your shoes. I'm only going to say that I don't know how the city is really going to afford all the money that it's been proposed, we're talking about a bond of $6 million, but we're really talking about the whole complex on 750. And I've never heard of a total amount, which is probably going to be 15 million or whatever. Now, I don't know how you're going to pay that out with the taxation or whatever. We don't have any businesses. It's really going to be stepping up and paying for any of this kind of money that we're talking about. Whether or not we need it or not, I don't have any way to tell whether or not we do or don't need all of this expansion before the big project on the golf course is completed, or how that's going to really affect us. With the information that I pulled up on the internet for my daughter, I think they say that we're going to pay $105 for this $6 million if we have a home that's $320,000 estimate. Well, all of you guys have got houses worth almost double that. And I have the same thing. My house has went up $200,000 this last estimate from the county. And you're all in the same boat as I am. We're paying a lot of money. It says $320,000. I don't know why we put that kind of money out there. There's a house in Harrisville, even though the low income houses are worth over $300,000. But I would expect most of the houses are $500,000 now. But that's a lot of money. I don't know how the city is ever going to pay all these bonds back that we're presenting to put on this project together on 750. So I would be against that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bear.
I don't usually do very good at this stuff, but I just, being in Bridgeville, and I live down in Independence Boulevard. I just feel that it's wrong for me to ask taxpayers to pay for my entertainment. I don't think that the city should be paying to entertain people, to entertain us all. And for 26 years, we're going to have that debt. That's terrible. What if you want to get it paid off in 10 years? So our taxes would go up even higher and get that paid off. I just think that it's wrong that I should have all of these people paying for my entertainment. I should be able to not have it from these people. I should be able to do that myself and not have taxpayers pay for it.
Thank you, Ellie. Anyone else? If not, I'm going to close the public comments. Thank you all for your participation. Moving on to item number 7, Mayor Council follow-up. We're going to change things up just a little bit, and we have asked the staff, the department heads, staff to give us a short update on what's going on for the past month. So in the spirit of transparency, that we can make sure that everyone's aware of what's going on. And see all the department heads running to be first.
So the first thing, I know Assistant Chief Moore went over this program that we're started, the SNAP program, where officers have little cards and they'll start doing business checks and residential checks. So if anybody gets one, it just means that an officer stopped by and checked if you have an open door or a business door, if we just did a business check. We've done this in a system where we can start tracking this on how many we do and how many citizens and residents we will have outreach to. It's still a new program, so we don't have a ton of stats on that yet, but that's coming. We have another officer in our department now that's an EMT certified that's going to start providing CPR classes for all the city employees. Will be free of charge from from here. And we've obtained all the materials to teach these classes. And we have the dummies, the books, the DVDs, and everything else that needs to be done with that. We're in the second phase of setting up our officers association. Now we have our tax number. We're started on the articles. We're getting ready to put the people on the board of who's going to be set there. And we are also working on the Shop with a Hero, which will be at Walmart. I can't remember the exact date. It's the first Saturday of December 3rd. So right now it looks like we'll probably have 3 kids and from Harrisville, and we've reached out to North Ogden, Pleasant View, and also Northview, and I'll pick 3 kids to bring to that event. The morning of 7 a.m. we'll do breakfast at the cabin and then head down to Walmart, do the shop with the Hero. Orion Junior High's cheerleaders are going to be there to wrap presents for the kids, and there'll also be a few students over there to take pictures as well. So if any of you are interested in coming, that's when it is, and we'd love to have any of you.
Thank you. How you're doing? Sorry.
If you can get out and see, Public Works has been hard at work all summer long. We've been doing a lot of infrastructure updates and trying to extend the life of the infrastructure we have. We've done a lot of manhole rehab for our sewer lines. As the gases and things, contaminants in the sewer lines kind of erode the concrete, we've reached out to a third-party company that comes and sprays a special orange liner in them that actually is supposed to give them 25 to 50 more years of life and help preserve that concrete. You can also see a lot of road projects, a lot of fixing of our storm drain and sewer collars that have been broken throughout the years. We've got a third-party company coming in and jackhammering those out, digging them down to proper depths, and then re-cementing those in. We've also had about 3 storm drain projects that Public Works guys have taken on themselves. And with the equipment we've been allowed to purchase over the last few years, has really helped aid us in doing those jobs and saving the city money by using our own guys, our own time, instead of hiring out a third-party contractor and paying a lot higher fee. We are in that great time of year that we are getting prepared. And what I mean by that is it's the middle of October and the S word is coming. So we're starting to get our plows ready. We've got our plow routes situated. This year, it's actually kind of a big relief from last year, is we have now 7 trucks and drivers instead of 4. So we will be definitely being able to better service the community and try to get out there and get the snow cleared off the roads a lot sooner, and definitely allocating 2 trucks just to do cul-de-sacs while all the other trucks are out doing the main roads and the main subdivision roads. So those cul-de-sacs won't have to wait till the last priority to get cleared, and we can get salt and those cleared up as we're doing our main roads as well. So a lot of great things going on, a lot of growth in our community that we're trying to stay with and embrace. So yeah, that's kind of what Public Works is headed and what we've accomplished and what we're working for.
Right.
Well, I'll be real honest. I'm shooting from the hip on this one. I forgot this was relevant, but nothing major or really new that we're working on. Some of the things we've been doing with the lack of green grass and mowing and trimming has allowed us time to work on some other things. So Recently, there's been a pretty big push in our department to take out dead or diseased trees and utilize our community forestry budget to replant some of those trees. So for every tree we take out, I would like to plant at least 2 more in its place, not necessarily in the same area, but throughout the parks. Recently, this last week, we removed the cabin playground. Permission was given by council some time ago to remove that as it was 23 to 25 years old and get replacement parts. We've been through that and over that before, but we just removed that. Had an inquiry actually on that today through email and of course explained that we won't be replacing that one, but we do have commitment from the city forward with the main playground or whether we have to rent it or not, so that'll be coming as well. Again, with a little more time on our hands to work on things that probably need a little more attention, we've had more focus on keeping the Bowery cleaner rather than pressure washing. You know, probably once a month. We've been doing it possibly once a week, at least every 2 weeks, pressure washing to keep it cleaner. So we're just trying to utilize our time wisely with not having as much grass mow because it's not growing, you know, as it should be with out the water. So those are just a few things we're working on.
Thanks, Brent. Tonight, Mr.
Mayor, I have a few things to report on. Just a reminder of the Fall Festival next Tuesday, October 18th at 5 p.m. Trunk or treat and other activities over at the Bowery. We also will have the staff is working towards having our giving tree again this year. If you have any recommendations on anything regarding that, please get with Mayor or myself or another member of the staff. Our November meeting schedule will be rotated due to election day. We'll be meeting on November 15th for our regular council meeting. And then we will be meeting again on the 22nd, just for a brief meeting to hold the canvas for the election results. The mayor and I were able to attend the Utility Cities and Towns training last week in Salt Lake, and we received very valuable information to bring back. Some of the key points were obviously regarding housing and water. We did receive a water report that surprised most of us, that we're actually at the same water level that we were last year because of the conservation that has taken place. So our efforts were recognized in trying to maintain that water level. They anticipated we'd be in a much worse situation at this point this year, but we're actually at the same point. This is due to extra rain that we've received, but also the conservation measures that have been taking place. We are happy to report that we attended a public safety mental health class, and we were ahead of the mandates that came through the legislation this last year with our public safety doing assessments and meeting those mental health needs of our entire city participates in that program. We do recognize the importance of keeping our staff mentally healthy. As Director Weiss recognized, we are looking into the ramp funding for a moderate ramp grant to help with the funding of replacement of the playground equipment over at the main park. And some of the other things we can look forward to that may come into play with the new legislative session this next January. Once again, a couple years ago, you're aware that they mandated we do a moderate income housing reporting system. Now they are requiring us to implement our strategies and come up with an implementation plan to be eligible for the state funding. What that looks like is in our general plan in 2019, we adopted several strategies as part of that plan that we would work on to help with moderate income housing in our city. The mixed use developments that we have approved continue to help us meet those strategies. All of those are located on our major corridors where it is recommended that we have that type of housing, but we will be required to come up with, so I'll be bringing that, our moderate income housing report is updating anyway, so I'll be bringing that towards early next year. We'll be talking more about that. Along with that, the state legislators are proposing some changes that may or may not have a lot of control over. It may create quite a hardship on us if they want us to give rebates to developers coming into our city. Some of those that Salt Lake offered are Salt Lake City particularly have offered building permit waivers or impact fee waivers, which makes it very difficult for small cities like ourselves to waive those fees with the development in the effort of creating affordable housing in our cities. Some of those things will be coming through the pipeline, and I do encourage you, if you are in contact with any of our local legislators, to make sure they understand how that impacts small cities in particular, where at disadvantage we don't have as many. The grants are available for us as long as we meet the requirements. It's more difficult for us to meet some of those requirements just by our sheer size. But we are also looking at every avenue we can to do grants and funding, even talking about possibly getting some help with that in the city to increase the revenue source from outside funding mechanisms. I believe that's all of my points, but we do want to look forward to holding a retreat next year to align the city's goals with our budget planning for the future, as we've made huge strides the last year and trying to balance that budget. We want to make sure moving in the future that we are being wise stewards of that.
Thank you. I just got a couple of items going to just remind you, like Jenny had said about Fall Festival. I hope you're all there willing to how those can do this. Just I love doing this. We have Walmart as a partner. Chief Wilson has been very beneficial with that. They've donated to the hot dogs, and we have hot dogs and 700 and how many hot dogs? 750 hot dogs and chips, and we have another Associated Foods donating water. We have a donation from Waste Management, and we're putting that towards candy. We also have a grant, a $2,000 grant will cover most of this, and we've got almost $3,000 worth of grants to cover this whole thing. We will have we have an association or a partnership with Tait Elementary, and they're going to be doing theirs.
The sixth grade conference for their students will be held in our fall. We look forward to their partnership. It's worked out really well. We're excited to keep doing that in the future.
So that should be a great night, and it's always followed up by the fireworks. We need to make sure we tell your neighbors we need to have that as a heads up. We don't want to startle anybody with that happening. And that's happening. So yes, Jenny and I went to the conference last week. Very informative, very beneficial. A little scary in some areas, but yeah, it was worthwhile. So, Councilmember Weiss, do you have anything to add? Councilmember Loveland?
No, just what time is the fall festival start?
Is there set up to come at 4:30 up?
We'd like to encourage you to come as early as possible for your trunks, so that we have all the vehicles in place before this. So 4:30.
4:30. Okay.
So as far as we're concerned, if we would like to, I would like to be, doing it as a city.
Okay.
So I mean, I asked Jenny if that was okay, and she said, yeah, that should.
Jenny's in charge, so just whatever.
Okay. Well, that's the way it is. No.
Okay.
So and so that's where I don't want to just do a separate thing, just have a kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's what's my.
So will it be like last year?
You can do it creative any way you want to.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
There we go.
I have been in contact, and I hope that you guys have got some time. I've been in contact with various businesses in our community, asking them to either donate or set up a trunk or treat. Got some positive feedback. Had to wade through the water to HHY yesterday. We got them contacted too. Next. Right. If nothing else, I need a motion to close this, and we will need a motion to then go into a closed executive session.
Make a motion that we close our city council agenda, our meeting, and move into an executive session.
Second.
motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Wait a minute, do I need a roll call? Councilmember Loveland,
Yes.
Councilmember Jackson.
Yeah.
Councilmember White.
Yes.
So I will just go from the audience. Thank you for attending. I appreciate your.
Good job.